Okay, so hi everyone, and let's talk about Astro. I have a quite limited time and quite a lot ground to cover, so let's go. First of all, as you already know, my name is Maciek Palmowski. I work at PatchStack. By day, I take care of WordPress security, and by night, I'm interested in some other things, like for example, JavaScript frameworks, because some of them are really interesting, and you know what? You have really a lot of them. Really, in PHP, we have only 2. It's so easy. Okay, so first of all, why even Astro? Because, like I said, I was always mostly into PHP. Worse. And I hope no one has any tomatoes or eggs. I am part of the WordPress community. I'm even a core contributor and everything. Thank you, thank you. Amazing community, thanks. So yeah, and at some point, Gatsby happened. Everyone in the WordPress community started converting their websites into headless. Everybody was so amazed that, whoa, my website is finally so amazingly quick. The problem is it was not thanks to Gatsby, it was thanks to the fact that they finally had a static site, right? So, but yeah, I gave Gatsby a try, and personally, I didn't like it. Especially from my PHP perspective, it kind of seems over-engineered, and I just didn't like it. So I started trying Next.js, Nuxt, everything. And every time I felt, meh, that's not for me. I prefer what we have in PHP ecosystem. And then Astro happened. Out of the blue, I remember it was a version 0.16 pre-alpha, never used on production, whatever. And I liked it. I liked it because of, first thing, I remember that they promised 0 JavaScript on the front end if you don't want to. And I like performance, because I'm mostly responsible for content websites, so I was really intrigued. And on the other hand, I started checking the syntax, and this thing happened. So this is one of the simplest components you can have in Next.js. It's one HR, that's it. And still, I have to define something, I have to export something. Like I said, I'm from PHP. We don't do stuff like this. And then in Astro, I saw that you can build a component like this. That's it. I can put it just like it, and kind of like include. So they bought me with this. So, but what is Astro anyway? So first of all, it's a JS framework. It started as a static site generator, but right now it's a full-blown JavaScript framework, but made for content websites. It was always built with performance in mind. Like I said, the fact with the JavaScript, there were also, since the beginning, a lot of focus on the performance aspect. I will talk about it later. It wasn't built for applications. So when we talk about Next, we think about Next as something for applications or something universal. Astro had a clear vision. Websites, content websites. And no vendor lock-in. So you can use whatever you want with Astro. You can use React, you can use Vue, you can use both. You can even use jQuery with Astro. That's cool. And as you see, it's becoming more and more popular. This is the JS survey, and in 2021, almost no one knew about Astro. Right now, it's getting more and more popular, 90%. And out of curiosity, how many of you already tried Astro? And to be honest, based on all the conference talk I did, we are the best in Poland. Really, we are pushing forward, trying new technologies. That's great. But look, it's not just about small developers. You can see really big names here. You can see Porsche, you can see Netlify, you can see Cloudflare, or United Nations. So really big brands are already giving Astro a try and using it in production. But okay, so what is so amazing about this? First of all, the thing that, I think they were the first with this, the island architecture. So it's a very nice name for, how it was called? Partial hydration. So yeah, island architecture is much nicer. So imagine this is your website, a very simple one. Headers, sidebar, content, carousel, footer, nothing weird. And you want to bring your own framework to this. So there is something in the sidebar that needs Vue.js. But on the other hand, you have this amazing component you built in React from your previous work, and you don't have time to rewrite it to Vue. So you would like to use this carousel in React. A few moments ago, I said that, yeah, that Astro is built with performance in mind, and now I'm trying to put two frameworks on the same website. It doesn't sound like a good idea. But they thought about it with client directives. So we can decide when will each framework will be loaded. So sidebar, yeah, it should be used since the beginning, so that's client load. But the carousel, it's on the bottom, so we need to scroll. And when it will become visible, this will be the moment when we'll load it. So thanks to this, we can use really multiple frameworks at once. It's really great if we are migrating from one website to another, because we can use different parts that use different frameworks, and it will work. And then we can start rewriting the code. Oh, and they lately even added server islands. So it's kind of the same, but it happens on server. So we wait until the website is doing nothing, then we load something from the backend. I mentioned that Astro is optimized for performance. So seeing screens like this is relatively easy. Let's start with the zero JavaScript by default. So this is quite an old image from Zach Letterman, the guy behind Eleventy website, because you can see Astro 2.0, but nothing changed. So Astro, Eleventy, and Enhance do not add any JavaScript if you don't want to. But if you use Next or Nux or Remix or whatever, you will always load quite a lot of JavaScript. When you are using it for applications, it's a bit different thing. But for content websites, yeah, it's better to keep them really slim. Another thing, a really good part when it comes to image optimization, there are two components called image and picture, and they are quite self-explanatory. You just pass the URL and the whole magic happens. You see it adds width, height, decoding, clothing, all the magic stuff. It resize, reformats. So like I said, it's relatively easy to make all your images optimized. Also, prefetching strategies. And I know that prefetching strategies, by default, don't affect your performance, but they do affect the perceived performance. So the users will think, oh my, what a very quick and responsible website. That's really we just loaded some things in the background, right? So there are a few strategies like hover, tap, viewport, and load. They're quite self-explanatory. So for example, hover, the moment you hover on the link, it already starts being loaded in the background. That's why people will think, wow, Astro is so amazing fast. Oh yeah. That was a really good trick, because I forgot, and in the end there are problems. Refreshed. Hydrated, yeah. But partially, just partially.
You're an island.
I'm an island. Another cool thing, and this is something when you start reading about Astro, is the amazing developer experience. And look, like I said, I'm from WordPress world, so for me, it's quite, I'm really quite easy to impress when it comes to the developer experience, right? Although we have Composer. Composer is cool. Not in core, of course. But still, going back to Astro. First of all, content collections. How many of you manage big websites with at least hundreds of Markdown and Markdown X files? You know, documentation, things like this. Do you? Oh, okay, I see something. Okay, yeah. So the truth is that managing it at some point might become a bit difficult. Especially when for some reason in some places titles stop showing or something and you don't know why. That's why Astro added content collections. So first you have to define a schema. So here we are trying to create a blog content, a blog collection. And the schema consists of title and image. So this is the part in the front matter, right? And the title has to be a string, and it's required. And the image is also a string because it's a path, and it's optional. So every time when I will add different variables or wrong variables, or I just make a typo, and instead of writing title, I write, I don't know, title with 2T or whatever, I will get this beautiful error explaining me that I made a mistake. It's really great, especially when you try to change those variables or do some mass operations. Really cool thing. Now, they also did a huge step forward with Content Layer API, because the collections were just for Markdown and Markdown X, and Content Layer API is for everything. Also for APIs, for JSON files and everything. So it's a kind of a, you can see this data store. So it's kind of cache, and it kind of puts everything in one place. It doesn't constantly ask the APIs for new data, and it really speeds up grabbing the data because it grabs it only once. It's really amazing. And you can see that just like here, this is the loader. You just get the data from the API, you save it. You can even also add the schema, so you can also be sure that the types are correct. And then everyone on the website, you can just grab it and use it. And it was already loaded. And with loaders, you can also add different caching and everything, so it's really a very powerful feature. Another thing, a really cool CLI. I mean, again, as a WordPress user, I'm easily impressed, but I do agree that Astro CLI is very simple. The installation process, for example, is really nice. And also one of my favorites, the upgrade command, because I'm maintaining right now 2 documentation websites and I'm upgrading them really quite regularly. No problem, it just works. Also, the adding and removing of different integrations is also very simple. So like I said, yeah, the CLI was always very important for Astro, and they are really doing an amazing job. Yeah, the error screens, because I'm a horrible JavaScript developer, you know? I am. So I see them a lot, like constantly almost. But luckily, they are very clear, and I do understand what should I do with them. That's how I'm kind of developing stuff when it comes to JavaScript. So yeah, Astro is very helpful here. As you can see, they clearly try to say what I did wrong and where should I look for help with this matter. Like I said, I'm really seeing this very often. But yeah, it's really good. Astro documentation. This is one of the things they really did in such an amazing way. And I'm not just talking about the content, but even about the approach. If you try to submit something, some new content to them, and for example, either Sarah or Alian will try to help you to make the content you submitted even better. So they really are doing a lot of work making sure that the documentation is as clear as possible. So really kudos to them. There is also this really small, nice feature that I really enjoy. It's called the developer toolbar. And as you can see, it can show you a lot of mistakes you made on your website. Also, you can add your own integration. Very cool, very simple, very cool. I do like it. Also, Astro wouldn't be that great without all the integrations. So first of all, yeah, you can integrate Astro with almost whatever you want. All the CMSs that will just have able to export a Markdown file or have an API, yeah, you can use them together with Astro. Another thing, there are already a lot of themes and code integrations like Tailwind, like you can see a Storyblock connection, Astro icon, sitemap generator, a lot of them. So you don't have to worry that you will have to write everything on your own. There is a lot of features already built in by some. And there is also a lot of other cool stuff that don't fit the performance or developer experience. Look, again, I'm from PHP. We don't have file-based router. For me, it's cool. I really like it. So it's quite simple. You just create a file and you will have your about page or whatever. Or you can, in the brackets, put the variables. It's that simple. Astro, like I said, it started as a static site generator, but right now we have either static, either server-side rendering, or there is a hybrid mode. Although the hybrid mode will be now removed, and the static site generator by default will be the hybrid one. But that it doesn't matter. You can use it the way you want. This is a cool thing because we don't have this fancy router that also adds those animations. That's why we we build those view transitions from CSS plus some extra logic inside of Astro, so we can kind of pretend that we have those smooth transitions and we look more fancy. Like I said, Astro is for content websites, so it wouldn't be a good framework if there wouldn't be any internationalization. Perfect. That's what I wanted to say. Thanks. Features, right? So you can set the locals, it takes care of routing. There are a lot of functions regarding this. So if you are building a multi-language site, yes, please do. It's doable and it's quite easy. Also, for those who like HTMX, okay, so there is HTMX.
Partially like it.
Okay.
Partial hydration, partial.
Perfect.
HTMX.
So that's great. That's great. So yeah, and yeah, it's quite simple to do because you just create a partial and you start using HTMX as usual. And because Astro can be also server side, it's quite easy to get all the data without creating a lot of additional code. So yeah, it works. And at some point, they also added this really cool thing called AstroDB. There was some ambitious plans about kind of making a product out of it, but in the end, it became more of an integration with libSQL databases. Right now, those are libSQL, but I know there are plans for making it available for other SQL databases too. But in general, they're using Drizzle as an ORM for you to connect with the database, to grab the data, update the data. And it's really written in this Astro way, so it's really simple, really developer friendly. Okay, so time to sum up. I'm even on time. Perfect. So is Astro the ultimate JS framework? Hell no. There is no such thing as ultimate JavaScript framework. We all have so many different needs. And so yeah, no. Astro isn't for sure the ultimate JavaScript framework because there is no one. But is it the ultimate framework for content websites? I would go with the hard it depends. It really depends on your needs, what you want to achieve, on your company needs. But every time, if you will be now thinking about building a content website, and you will be thinking about which technology to choose, add Astro to the list. Check it, because you may be really surprised by how cool it is. Because it's not about that it's better or worse. It's really cool to write with Astro. So, do you have some questions? Oh.
First of all,
Thank you.
Are there any questions from the audience? Yep, go on.
Yes, so I have been reading about WordPress, and also I haven't tried Astro. What about child themes? And do you think Astro has support for them?
For child themes?
Yes.
Not in a way that WordPress has. I mean, because I really don't remember any other CMS than WordPress that kind of had this approach to child themes. Also, kind of WordPress itself kind of removes the child themes kind of slowly because of the new approach to building themes. So no, I don't think that really no one else had this approach. Although, if you look, for example, at Astro Starlight, this is their official documentation kind of theme or framework, whatever. You can see how they took care of kind of overriding components of which you built your website. So you still have kind of the default look inside of your node modules folder that you should not touch, but you can override every component. So it is kind of similar, so you don't have to worry about what is happening with the core version versus what you have. So.
Thank you.
Okay.
We have one more question.
Okay, you mentioned that Astro can use different libraries on
Yes.
I assume as a slot, but in the slots, but can we use in, for example, Vue component, a React component? Can we mix the libraries?
Oh, so kind of use one in another.
Yeah,
no, I don't
no.
think so. No, no.
So-
Answer this question.
Oh.
There is something you
Just could you just pass the
Yeah.
mic?
So
I can support you
Okay.
in answering this question. So basically, this is a crazy nightmare of connecting probes and so on. But generally, there is something like Vue React or Vue
Oh,
React.
God.
something like this. No. This is, however, the hardest part there is understanding the issue. So you need to be an expert both in React and Vue. We have here some people like this. This is really hard. Generally, this approach with micro frontends is like maintainable. With mixing both two, including one in each other, it's super hard. Thank you.
Although it sounds a bit like a nightmare, to be honest.
Yeah, you create
But
a
on the
monster
other
and you're
hand-
responsible for the monster.
But I do think.
You create a monster and then you're responsible for the monster.
But look, it really promotes pair programming because you have to have two experts trying to write one code. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
but
yeah.
is there one man at least or a woman who understands the whole stack, like holistically? That's the question then. Just wait for the mic.
I want to only sum up my question because I want to know that maybe Astro resolved the problem of the micro frontends very easy, but micro frontends are not easy, so that's why.
Yeah,
That's why
it's
I
more. It's more on this level that you can just kind of combine those frameworks, but kind of separately. I mean, still, it's kind of still a step forward, and maybe another Astro will kind of solve this. Who knows?
If there is no more question, then I have one more. Oh, okay, yeah,
Perfect.
sure.
Yeah, so
Could you please, this is not a serious question, could you please maybe tell us a little quick joke about WordPress? Like your favorite one? Is there some?
Oh my! Although look, it is kind of funny. Do you know that you should? Do you know how you should write WordPress with a capital P? You know about this? Okay. So, WordPress has a function built in called capital P dang it. And it takes all the content that you pass to it and changes WordPress with a small p to a capital P. And sadly, but remember, it's not a joke, this function really exists. At some point, there was even a bot on Twitter, before Elon and his limits, that was kind of scraping the web, and everyone who wrote WordPress with a small p got capital P, dang it, and yeah, bot.
incredible. More than expected.
Thank you for the joke.
It's a reality.
Chris, do we have any questions from the streaming? No. So I have one. So before we thank you for the for the talk, you mentioned that Astro is not yet the ultimate framework for the JS ecosystem. But could you mention what are the disadvantages, or what would be a reason not to choose Astro? What are the traps which are either obvious or non-obvious? What should we watch out for? What is your experience?
So the first thing is that we have to remember that really Astro was built with content websites in mind. So this means if you are looking for managing states and like doing things that application do, Astro it's not for it. It was just built by design this way. And I think that's okay because most of JS frameworks started to focus on applications or on being universal. And Astro kind of decided to go the way that Eleventy did earlier, but in a bit nicer fashion. Focusing on one thing, doing it great, and that's it. So it's kind of, Astro will never be this ultimate framework for applications because it never was meant to be like this. Although looking at how quickly it changes, how many new features are being added, who knows what will happen in Astro, I don't know, 7, because now we have Astro 5 beta, so 6 probably won't revolutionize anything, but 7, who knows?
I think it was a really awesome talk, so thank you very much, Maciek.
Oh, and because my company sent me here and they even paid for my ticket, they just asked me one thing. If you are a Vue or Nux, I mean Vue/Nux developer and you would like to join Patch Stack, don't worry, you won't be dealing with WordPress directly. Yeah, scan it. I mean, it is kind of partially connected with WordPress, but just partially. You won't be touching it. So if you're interested, yeah, just scan or you can talk with me. Yeah. So thanks everyone.
Thank you very, very much.